Okay, so let's start. Good afternoon from Bangladesh. This is Mehnaz. I am working at BIGD, which is BRAC Institute of Governance and Development, and I'm honored to be chairing this session today. This is a rapid fire session, which means that the presentations will be very brief, 5 minutes each. So we have 6 panelists today. We'll take 5 minutes each, and I suggest that we do the presentations at one go in the spirit of rapid fire. And if you have questions for the speakers, please do write them down in the comments chat box. And the speakers can answer the questions at the end of all the presentations, if that's okay with you. So I'll start with Xuan Yu. Xuan Yu University, and she will be presenting her paper Methodological and Reporting Quality of Meta-Analysis in Business and Management. Over to you, Xuan Yu.
Oh, sorry, wait a moment. So could you see my screen now?
Not yet. Ashrita, I think if you stop sharing, I can see it, Xuan Yu, but it's very small.
Oh, okay, wait a moment. Yeah, because I think someone is sharing the screen now.
Oh, okay, I'm just trying to unshare that. Just give me a minute. Okay, it should work now.
Go ahead.
How about now? Everything is fine?
Yes.
Okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Xuan, and from the Evidence-Based Social Sciences Research Center of Lanzhou University in China. So today my presentation topic is methodological and reporting quality of meta-analysis in management. So I will use these 4 ways to present my topic. First is the research background. So with the emergence and rapid development of evidence-based medicine, evidence-based social science has gradually developed, and the concept of evidence-based management has emerged. So some scholars mention the evidence-based management is to use the best evidence to improve the quality of decision-making in management. At the top of the evidence pyramid, as you can see in this picture, so meta-analysis is likely to become the best evidence for decision-making. Also, the AMSTA is currently recognized as an appraisal tool for evaluating the methodological quality of systematic reviews and meta-analysis, and PRISMA is a tool for evaluating the reporting quality. So the purpose of this study is to evaluate the methodological and the reporting quality of meta-analysis, which published in management high-impact journals in recent 5 years, such as from 2016 to 2020, and find its existing problems and put forward suggestions to improve the methodology and the reporting quality of meta-analysis in management, so as to promote the development of evidence-based management. Next is our research methods. So we only include systematic reviews and meta-analysis, which were published in top 10 impact journals from 2016 to 2020. Next is to evaluate the methodological score and the reporting rate. So we use AMSTA tool to evaluate the methodological score and the PRISMA tool to evaluate the reporting rate. Each item of AMSTA scale is described as yes and no, respectively. So all yes items get 1 point, and the highest score of each meta-analysis is 11. And PRISMA 2 includes 27 items from 7 fields, and each item is evaluated with report and non-report. In the end, we evaluate the final reporting rate. So what do we find? In the end, we searched the 13 journals. This table shows searched journals. According to the criteria, in the end, we included 50 meta-analyses. Among these 13 journals included in the search, 8 journals published meta-analyses that met the inclusion criteria of this paper. So half of the meta-analyses were led by authors from American institutions or organizations, and followed by Dutch, Germany, France, Canada, United Kingdom, and China. So the number of authors ranged from 2 to 7 with a median of 4, and the number of authors institute ranged from 1 to 8, and with a median of 3. So the number of literatures included in meta-analysis ranged from 25 to 748, with a median of 96. So for the methodological quality, the average score is 42.4%, and there is no significant increase from 2016 to 2020. We also find the highest methodology score is 63.6%, and there are no high-quality meta-analysis, which means there is no study like higher than 75%. And this is for the reporting quality. The average reporting rate is 49.5%. As you can see at before, it's a little bit higher than methodological quality. So, however, there is also no significant increase from 2016 to 2020, and the highest reporting rate is 66.7%. So in this picture, you can find these two pictures shows the methodological score and the reporting score for each item. And we could find that some items got scores just under than 10%. So according to our research results, we hope to give some recommendations to improve methodological and reporting quality. First, we recommend writing protocol before developing a meta-analysis, as there is no registration platform for meta-analysis in social sciences. So it is recommended to write the protocol before developing meta-analysis to improve the transparency and scientificity. And the second, write a structured abstract. When researchers screen documents and we find it is really hard to judge it is a systematic or not, according to the abstract. So we do believe like a structured abstract is convenient for readers to quickly judge the type, methods, and the results of the article and help decision makers quickly find the evidence to support evidence-informed decision making. And the third one is the reporting conflict of interest and describe how to manage this conflict. And the last one is we hope the researchers need to follow the reporting guidelines and strengthen the awareness of using quality appraisal tools. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions or recommendations related to our research, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for keeping that very powerful presentation in a very short time. If anyone has any questions, please type them in the comment box and the speakers will answer. Panelist is Ashrita Saran. Ashrita is Director of Campbell South Asia. She has been working on systematic reviews and evidence and gap map for a long time, and she's been training a lot of researchers across the region on this. So over to you, Ashrita. She will be presenting evidence and gap map of development and impact evaluations in India.
So is my PowerPoint visible to everyone?
Yes.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Mehnaz, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to be presenting very briefly some of the key findings of a country evaluation map. Before I get to that, it's important to note what exactly are evidence and gap maps and what are country evaluation maps. So EGMs, they are basically a systematic evidence synthesis products that helps display the evidence in a particular sector or a subsector. And country evaluation maps, they are more restricted in terms of the country, that because it's only restricted to a country, but they are broad in terms of because they are meant to include all kinds of evaluation for the different projects done in that country. But I want to note here that for the India country EGM, we only included impact evaluation, not the other kind of impact evaluations. Now, like I mentioned, evidence and gap map, they're in the form of a matrix of interventions and outcomes. So what you see here on the screen is basically a snapshot of India country EGM. This map currently has around 601 impact evaluation, and the search dates included were from year 2000 to the year 2019.
Sorry, Ashrita, sorry to interrupt, but I think you're sharing your full screen, so it's showing the, it's not showing the presentation only, it's showing the full screen. When you were
now
at the beginning, when you were showing it was fine.
So what about now, Mehnaz? Is it?
No, still the same.
That's.
Can you read?
Okay, I hope it's visible now.
Now it's working. Yes.
So sorry about that. So what you see here on the screen is a snapshot of India country EGM, showcasing the different outcomes and the intervention categories. The bubbles that you see here on the screen, they basically all impact evaluation. We also tend to include the on evaluation, which are denoted by blue color, which is not visible because there were very few evaluations. Of course, since all the EGMs navigate the EGMs, what you need to do is hover over these bubbles. You can see the number of studies. You can click on that. You can see the number of list of the studies for that particular cell. And of course, you can click on the studies to get to read the study, or you can actually get to read the paid or unpaid. Apart from the primary dimensions of the map, any evidence and gap map also has a secondary dimensions. So even for the India country, secondary dimensions in the form of filters. Now, coming upon to the rationale, once we deciding that we should have an India country EGM, it was in 2018. At a very quick, rapid scoping search from the 3i database, we were able to identify 400 impact evaluations and, development interventions. Now, since we had such huge amount of impact evaluation, the next step is there's an increasing need that happens to understand the spread of these impact evaluation across the interventions and outcome categories, but also across the different the administrative division of India. Luckily, about the same time when we were deciding to do this in 2018, the Niti Aayog, which is the primary think tank of Government of India, also created and released a document which was India that details around 41 crucial policy areas under the 4 main headings, and use this strategy crucial policy areas to form our intervention domains and the development goals. So these are the 4 intervention main categories: infrastructure, inclusion, and governance. So under drivers, basically it focuses on any kind of strategies that focus on the engines of economic performance in India, ranging from a strengthening manufacturing sector to science and technology. Infrastructure basically deals with physical foundations. Inclusion basically deals with investing in the capabilities of citizens of India, for example, education, health, nutrition. And lastly, we had governance. Coming upon to the PICOs that were included for the CGM, we included population of and institutions of India. We had several subpopulations involving equity components. Interventions were from the Niti Aayog strategy document, out sustainable development goals, and impact evaluations. So these were some of the key databases that were searched. Coming upon to the main findings. So if you look at the aggregate map here, you can see that there's one section which is heavily populated, and that is of the effective inclusion strategies, such as health and well-being. So the health sector was heavily populated. There were other sectors that were also populated in the form of economic. So identified good amount of studies on gender, that is SDG 5. The least populated sectors were peace and justice, global partnerships, and inequality. If we identify the disaggregated analysis, so if you see in the drivers sector, the growth and employment strategies were heavily populated. There were very less impact evaluation on strength manufacturing sector. Similarly, on infrastructure, we had on employment least amount in urban and rural development. If we talk about inclusion, no wonder health was heavily populated. And on governance, we had a good amount of evidence on data-led governance and balanced regional development, but other sectors were completely least populated. If we talk about the nationality of the authors who were doing this impact evaluation, the highest were Indian co-authors with non-Indian lead, which we had around 254 such impact evaluations. Coming upon to the key findings, like I mentioned, of health research, there were other well-evidenced cells in the areas of education, gender, and nutrition. And of course, this map highlights the key gaps in the area of governance and infrastructure. At the outcome level, we had good amount of evidence on health and well-being and economic by energy, industry, and infrastructure. There were notable gaps in the areas of urban development, peace and justice, and inequality outcomes. And
Ashrita, sorry to interrupt again. The presentation seems to be stuck on one slide.
what about now? Can you see it?
We can see slide 3.
Okay, I'm just coming to the conclusion. I'm really not sure. Sorry about the technical glitches here. I don't know why. It could be the network here in the sense. But I'm just coming to the conclusion of it, so maybe I can just speak through it.
Sure.
So in terms of the notable gaps on the outer areas were on urban development, it was on peace and justice, quality outcomes. If we talk about the population subgroups, children and youth, we had good amount of evidence, but very less evidence on the equity areas like people with disabilities and elderly, and also in women. The impact evaluation focusing on women, I mean. So in terms of conclusions and next steps, the India country gem, it helps us identify 601 impact evaluation overall in India so far. And this is an important finding, opportunities to synthesize national studies to learn sector-specific lessons. But what is equally important as next step now is to, first of all, include all the new impact evaluations, specifically focusing on pandemics and epidemic. And secondly, to also assess the quality of these to understand in which sectors we have high quality impact evaluation and where exactly are the lack of studies. With that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you, everyone. If you have any comments or anything, feel free to about the technical glitches that happened. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashrita. And maybe you can, if it's possible, for anyone who's interested to look at the figures that we missed towards the end. But thank you very much. I think I saw Rajalaxmi Singh has joined us. Yes. He was here a bit ago. So maybe we'll move on. And our next speaker is Luying Cheng from Lanzhou University. Luying is a second-year graduate student in the School of Nursing at Lanzhou University, and her main research interest today an analysis of the research subject and co-citation of living systematic reviews. Over to you, Luying. I can't hear you, Luying.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay. 我天哪，分享屏幕好像没有。Wait a moment。对呀，这不是点上了。
If you're facing any issues, you just need to click on share screen. There's a computer icon You just need to click on that, and then you can able to share your screen.
Wait a moment. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it. Yes, Luying, I can see it. You can proceed.
这样吗？ Okay. I'm sorry.
No problem. Please go ahead.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Luying Cheng, and I'm glad to have this opportunity to share this article with you. The title of this article is Citation Analysis of Living Systematic Review based on Web of Science. The main content of this article is to analyze the citation of living systematic reviews and understand the development status of living systematic reviews from the site. I will share this article from these three parts. Part 1, background. Living systematic reviews refers to systematic reviews incorporating new evidence in time through regular updates. In 2014, Mr. Elliott proposed living systematic reviews. In 2016, the Cochrane collaboration was established and launched the Cochrane Living Evidence Network, dedicated to writing and publish LSR. In 2017, the Journal of Clinical Epidemiology published a series of articles that systematically and comprehensively explain LSR. Living systematic reviews can be dynamically updated periodically according to the latest clinical evidence, ensuring the clinical timeliness, accuracy, and predictability of the systematic reviews results. Part 2. The result of this article, a total of 600,218 articles are cited, and 4,607 authors participated in the publication of citations. Among them, the author with the highest co-occurrence frequency was WHO, followed by Mr. Elliott of Motion University and Mr. Higgins of University of Bristol. The citations come from 2,116 to 71 journals, the top 3 of which are Journal of Nutrition, Education, and Behavior, 453 times, Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, 234 times, and the Journal of Clinical Epidemiology, 205 times. The citation journals are grouped into 4 categories: dermatology, specialty diseases, healthcare and nutrition, and oncology and hematology. All citations can be divided into 5 topics. LSR methodological research, LSR related tools, software, and updating of LSR related to specialized diseases, Research on COVID lighting update in the form of LSR and the discussion on the timing and the method of updating LSR. Here are some diagrams from the articles. This is a chart of top 10 co-citations. This is a strong citation burst scheme chart. The part 3 summary. The most frequently cited citations of LSR are mainly articles related to LSR methodology. The cooperation between LSR citation authors is mainly concentrated in developed countries in Europe and America. The number of journals that publish LSR citations is large, and most of them are high-quality journals, but currently there is no journals with the theme of LSR. Living Systematic Reviews research is in its infancy in China, and it has great development potential from methodology to clinical application. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we have Ashrita has shared her study with us in the chat box. Thank you, Ashrita. And Rajalaxmi Singh, are you here with us? Yes, it's joining. Hello. Rajalaxmi Singh, are you here with us?
Hello.
Hello. Yes, we can hear you. Are you
Ma'am,
ready to
I'm
go
not
now?
getting the screen share option. Hello.
Okay. On your screen, you can see those icons
Hello.
where you can switch on your camera. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Rajalaxmi, can you hear me?
No.
I'm saying from where you can switch off your
Do you
camera and
see
switch on your
the
camera, there's a computer icon just next to it. You have to click on that one.
Rajalaxmi? Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Yes. Do you see the little buttons under your name, the camera, the mic?
Yes.
And
Yes, and there is a computer icon.
Hello.
there's
There's a computer icon, I think it's the third or fourth one.
on the screen. If you click on that, you can share screen.
Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Yes. It's not happening actually.
It's not working.
Are you using your phone to present,
Yes.
or which device? It's a laptop or a phone?
It's phone.
Okay, you're using phone. Just give me 1 second.
In the interest of time, should we
Just check, phone doesn't have the option to share the screen. So for that you really need to log in by your laptop or the computer, then only you'll be able to share your screen.
Rajalaxmi, is it possible for you to get on a computer in a few minutes? I think we lost her again. So maybe she'll come rejoin. We can move on to our next speaker. Ping Wang is from Lanzhou University again. She is at the Evidence-Based Medicine Center, and the main research interest here is evidence-based medicine. And the presentation today is on reporting quality. Ping Wang?
Please wait a moment.
Yes. can see your screen.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, yes, you're good to go.
Yes, thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Wang. My presentation topic is the report quality of Campbell systematic review. If you have any question about my topic, I'm very happy to hear from you. Campbell systematic review are representation. Campbell systematic review are representation of evidence synthesis in social science. I found that there are exciting studies that have evaluated the report quality of Campbell systematic review published before 2080 by Prisma 2009. Prisma 2020 is an updated reporting guideline for systematic review. So this study aims to identify the change in report quality of Campbell systematic review published in 2018 to 2020. Use Prisma 2009 and to identify the shortcoming of reporting quality of Campbell systematic review published in 2018 to 2020. Use Prisma 2020. We included the Campbell systematic review published in 2018 to 2020 to review assess the independently the report quality. Use Prisma 2009 and Prisma 2020, and then compared the report quality of Campbell systematic review published before 2018 and published in 2018 to 2020, and analyzed the shortcomings of report quality according to Prisma 2020. So what the study focused on are the change in report quality and the shortcoming of report quality of Campbell systematic review published in 2018 to 2020. This study finally included 36 Campbell systematic review published from 2018 to 2020. 10 reviews were published in 2018. 30 reviews were published in 2019. 30 reviews were published in 2020. And 4 Campbell subject categories: education, criminal justice, international development, and social welfare account for the majority. This figure is about the change in the report quality of Campbell systematic review published between 2018 to 2020 and before 2080. There are 2 lines for each item. The first line represents the report quality of Campbell systematic review published in 2018 to 2020. The second line represents the report quality of Campbell systematic review published before 2018. There is obviously improvement in items reported as a systematic review or meta-analysis, but there are failing in items such as the result of individual studies, result of the risk of biases across study, and the result of additional analysis. The other outcome is the shortcoming of report quality according to Prisma 2020. This figure is about the percentage of Prisma 2020 items reported including the systematic review. We can say item 38, 30, C, 50, 28, 20C, 20D. 21, 22, 24A, 24C have low percentage. This is the period for the shortcoming of the reporting quality. They are made about the methods and the result of synthesis and methods as a result of certainty assessment. Prisma 2020 was published after including the Campbell system review. There are shortcomings in the report quality is normal. The key find of this study is the reporting quality of Campbell systematic review published in 2018 to 2020 has improved. The percentage of some items reported needed to improve according to Prisma 2020. My share is over. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we can move on to our last presentation for the day. While there are already questions in the chat box for the speakers, so we can come to answering those questions at the end of the presentations. Our next presenter is Mei Wu, also from Lanzhou University, and the presentation is on the relationship between systematic review and meta-analysis. Welcome, Mei Wu. Over to you.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm honored to have the opportunity to present my paper, The Relationship Between Diabetic Retinopathy and Cognitive Dysfunction, a Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. First, I'm going to begin with a little background. Diabetic retinopathy, a typical specific microvascular complication of diabetes. It's a major cause of preventable blindness in working age people. According to a study by the WHO, globally, there will be more than 500 million diabetics by 2025, and DR will occur in about 1/3 of these patients. Cognitive dysfunction refers to the degree of cognitive impairment between normal aging and dementia. According to the ADI, dementia is predicted to affect about 75.6 million people by 2030 and about 150 million by 2050 worldwide. The cognitive functions include memory, attention, language fluency, visual space construction, reasoning and judgment, executive function, and other domains. Many studies suggest that there is a strong relationship between retinopathy and cerebral microvascular injury, owing to significant similarity between the retina and the cerebral microvasculature in terms of embryological orange structures and common physical characteristics. Retinopathy provides a window for observing cerebral microvascular lesions, serving as a possible predictor of cognitive decline. So, we study aims to determine the relationship between diabetic retinopathy and cognitive dysfunction, as well as explore the effects of DR on different cognitive domains. We searched the following disabilities from their inception to March 2021. A total of 22 studies met the inclusion criteria criteria, and 15 were included in the meta-analysis. Our results were divided into primary and secondary outcomes. The primary outcome is that cognitive dysfunction events. The secondary outcome are the changes in the cognitive domains. Here's what we found in the primary outcomes. The presence of DR reflects a higher risk of cognitive impairment. In the subgroup analysis, both types of studies support this finding. In the regional subgroup, we didn't find this association in North America. In the diabetes type subgroup, we didn't identify an association between these two conditions in type 1 diabetic mellitus, and this figure showed us a positive correlation between DR severity and the risk of cognitive impairment. Our secondary outcome focused on the impact functioning, attention, information processing speed, and the spatial ability. We performed a descriptive analysis of secondary outcomes. DR was found to really impair the psychomotor speed and information processing speed. We came to a conclusion: DR is a predictor of cognitive decline. Screening for DR should be executed effectively in clinical students and identify MCI in the DR patients on time to reduce the risk of cognitive decline and dementia. Additional research is required to explore the relationship between DR and cognitive impairment in patients of different ages, gender, race, and T1DM patients for evaluating the risk of cognitive decline in different populations. That's all for my debrief. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. So we've seen a wide range of topics. So we've seen samples of Epstein gap map, systematic review, meta-analysis across the region. Thank you so much for your presentations, all the panelists. We can take questions now if there are questions from the attendees. Please feel free to type in the comment box, chat box, or speak. There was already one question that was answered by a panelist. We can ask each other questions as well if there are questions within the panelists on other presentations. Are you speaking, Xuan Yu? You're on mute. No, okay. So I had one question in general, specifically on the studies that are on the reporting quality and how the methodological reporting is evolving over time. Are these papers published, and how are these affecting actually the quality of work moving forward? Is that something? I don't know if Ashrita, you may be able to answer because you see a lot of these all the time.
So let me get this correct. So your question is on the quality of the studies that gets included in the various reviews and EGMs, right? And how they affect the overall analysis. That's right. Okay, so whenever we go for any evidence and gap maps or we do systematic reviews, one of the key criteria when we do the searches is not to restrict studies based on quality, because that is not correct, and you really cannot assess the quality of something just based on whether it's published or whether it's coming from grey literature. So the whole point is to make your searches as comprehensive as possible, so that we can get to include all the studies relevant to that research question or research topic, depending upon whether you're doing your EGM or systematic reviews. The next step is when we have included the studies into the final results, we have to go about doing risk of bias, or we have to assess the quality. And these are done using a standardized checklist. For impact evaluations, there are different checklists. For systematic reviews, there are different checklists. And that depends upon the author, what they're using, and they have to provide a rationale when we assess these qualities. Now, there's a thing, when we do the analysis for systematic reviews or EGM, we started rating them for low quality, medium quality, and high quality. And of course, when you hear the word high quality, that means that these impact evaluation have actually undergone all the methodological standards, and they have any impact evaluation, they have followed all the methodological standards while they were conducting the studies. And this is exactly what we mean by high quality research. And of course, any kind of evidence, or whether you're doing a systematic review and you're doing meta-analysis, having these quality or limits can actually help you understand whether your findings, they are significant, and how reliable these findings are. So whenever we do these analysis, we have to very clearly mention that this analysis is based on high quality impact evaluation, or they are based on low quality impact evaluation. Similarly, when we do EGMs, the whole purpose of quality rating is to understand the confidence in the finding of these research. Again, so whenever we are using it for policy prescriptions, or whether we are using it for research, we should know these policy decisions are based on high quality systematic reviews, or they're based on low quality. So the whole purpose of including these quality rating is to understand whether the evidence or whether the findings that we have, they are reliable, or where exactly is the methodological limitations. Now, there are two things that can come out of it. Why we are having more and why do we include them? The whole purpose is so that of course you can go ahead and talk about why we're having such low quality impact evaluation, or why we have such low quality systematic reviews coming up, where exactly is the problem that is going forward. So whenever we do these checklists, there are different scales to it, and we can identify where exactly these quality issues are happening. And in a larger forum, you can sit together and discuss, and whenever these impact evaluations are actually being inceptionalized, these things have to be kept in mind, that these are the areas where you can actually go wrong. So I think this is important. But again, I like to end by saying that you do not restrict your studies based on the quality, because some of these, there really are good amount of research coming out, and you really cannot just let them go with it. But we have to keep them as a part of recommendation, and need to work together to have more high quality research.
Thank you, Ashrita. And Howard has pointed out an interesting point as well. I didn't think about that. The length restrictions on journal papers often restricts how much you can share about the methodology, and that might be a factor also when you're doing an appraisal of the quality of systematic review. Comment box, is there any interest from GOI in the map?
Okay, so yeah, I wanted to discuss this while I was presenting. So the reason why we based our EGM framework on Niti Aayog Strategy 2022 was the same, because Niti Aayog is basically a think tank, the policy decision of the government of India. And the whole point of basing these intervention categories on the Niti Aayog strategy was so that they also are able to assess where exactly are the key gaps happening in terms of generating impact evaluation, and where exactly we have concentration of evidence. So in terms of what are the next steps, and whether we have generated interest from Government of India from this, we have tried reaching out to some of the key policy organizations here in India. Some of them, they do identify that they can resonate with it. one of the key things that they mentioned, because with the pandemic happening and with the epidemic happening, there were so many strategies that were rolled out here in India. And I think this is where the key interest is rising. So the suggestion from the government agencies, the policy organization, was we should include a section on epidemic and pandemics here in India in that particular map, so that any research organization or any policy domain, they can come to the map and identify which strategies were effective or which strategies were actually worked out. So that was a suggestion given to them, and of course we would require funding to go and do the detailed analysis in this sector, and that is what we are trying to work on currently. And I think once we include that, there will be good interest coming up. And yeah, their suggestion in fact is the indication that this map did generate an interest from the government agencies.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Ashrita. I hope that answers the question. Howard, is there any other question from our participants, attendees?
There was one comment from Sandrine. I just want to answer that. So this report is not published yet. It is out for peer review and it is yet not published. So hopefully within a month or so, it would be published and it would be available for public domain.
Okay, great. We missed one speaker, so we can end early if there are no other questions. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for this fantastic session. Thank you to all the panelists for your presentations, and hope to see you in the next session as well.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.